other is a prediction for the future, and that's not really a conspiracy theory. That is instead a prediction on the impact of artificial intelligence and internet communication. Before we begin, I'd like to quickly remind you that you can watch all of my ASMR videos on Patreon without the YouTube advertisements if you want to support me. Now, sit back, feel free to get comfortable and feel relaxed, and let's learn together about this very interesting topic. The dead internet theory is a conspiracy theory which asserts that since around 2016 the internet has consisted mainly of bot activity and automatically generated content manipulated by algorithmic curation as a part of a coordinated and intentional effort to control the population and minimize organic human activity. You can see there the more conspiratorial elements of this theory, whereas a lot of people know this theory to be the theory that AI-generated accounts will in the future take up internet traffic simply for the benefit of people running the bot, not as a coordinated conspiratorial effort, as this theory posits. So now we're getting into the public perception versus the reality of the original theory. Proponents of the theory believe these social bots were created intentionally to help control algorithms and boost search results in order to influence consumers. Some proponents of the theory accuse government agencies of using bots to manipulate public perception. The dead internet theory has gained traction because many of the observed phenomena are quantifiable, such as increased bot traffic, but the literature on the subject does not support the full theory. Several sources regarding non-human web activity speculate that many of the theory's original precepts, not including its conspiratorial element, may represent a realistic prediction of the future of the internet. I don't know if I necessarily believe that that will happen, but there's no law of physics or anything that I necessarily see that means it would be impossible to happen. So it is a possibility of the way that things might go, but I have a feeling that maybe things will get worse for a little while, but it's not really in the best interests of mega corporations, in my opinion, to have the majority of their traffic be from bot accounts, as for bot accounts, then they are, of course, much less likely to pay, and servicing advertisers is one of their main profit motives. And regardless of what you think morally of these companies, you can always predict what they will do based on what generates profit. Now, let's look at the origins and spread of the theory. I have never learned about the origin of the dead internet theory before, so that could be interesting. The dead internet theory's exact origin is difficult to pinpoint. In 2021, a post titled "Dead Internet Theory: Most of the Internet is Fake" was published onto the forum Agora Roads Macintosh Cafe esoteric board by a user named Illuminati Pirate, claiming to be building on previous posts from the same board and from Wizard Chan, and making the terms spread beyond these initial image boards. The conspiracy theory has entered public culture through widespread coverage and has been discussed on various high-profile YouTube channels. It gained more mainstream attention with a September 2021 article in The Atlantic titled "Maybe You Missed It, but the Internet Died 5 years ago." The article has been widely cited by other articles on the topic. Now, what exactly are the claims of this theory? The dead internet theory has two main components: that organic human activity on the web has been displaced by bots and algorithmically curated search results, and that state actors are doing this in a coordinated effort to manipulate the human population. The first part of this theory, that bots create much of the content on the internet and perhaps contribute more than organic human content, has been a concern for a while, with the original post by Illuminati Pirate citing the article "How Much of the Internet is Fake." Turns out a lot of it actually in New York Magazine. The dead internet theory goes on to include that Google and other search engines are censoring the web by filtering content that is not desirable, by limiting what is indexed and presented in search results. While Google may suggest that there are millions of search results for a query, the result available to a user do not reflect that. This problem is exacerbated by the phenomenon known as link rot, which is caused when content at a website becomes unavailable users to curate and potentially artificial content online. The second half of the dead internet theory builds on this observable phenomenon by proposing that the US government, corporations, and other actors are intentionally limiting users to curated and potentially artificial AI-generated content to manipulate the human population for a variety of reasons. In the original post, the idea that bots have displaced human content as described as the setup, with the thesis of the theory itself focusing on the United States government being responsible for this, stating, and here is the quote, "The US government is engaging in an artificial intelligence-powered gaslighting of the entire world population." Now that might be all well and good to just say, but what is the expert opinion on the matter? Let's find out. Carolina Buster, founder of the media platform New Models, was quoted in a 2021 article in The Atlantic calling much of the dead internet theory a paranoid fantasy, even if there are legitimate criticisms involving bot traffic and the integrity of the internet. But she said she does agree with the overarching idea. In an article in the New Atlantis, Robert Mariani called the theory a mix between a genuine conspiracy theory and a creepypasta that feels like an accurate description. A 2024 IFL Science, I effing love science, article stated, "Like all good conspiracy theories, the dead internet theory takes a kernel of truth or agreed sentiment, like that the internet is getting worse and that bot activity is increasing, and twists it into something that it isn't." In 2024, the dead internet theory was sometimes used to refer to the observable increase in content generated via large language models such as ChatGPT appearing in popular internet spaces without mention of the full theory. A 2024 article by Yoshija Walter states that the once speculative theory is now observable with the introduction of AI-generated content. In a 2025 article by Thomas Sommerer, this portion of the dead internet theory is explored, with Sommerer calling the displacement of human-generated content with artificial content an inevitable event. Sommerer states the dead internet theory is not scientific in nature, but reflects the public perception of where GPT-3 gets loose, the internet would be completely unrecognizable. Well, I would say the internet is very different now, and the amount of AI generated text I see is astounding, including from very high profile accounts, but it's just so easy to spot and so clearly visible as well. I wonder if you've also had the same opinion. I might be somewhat more sensitive to it, having studied AI a bit in my computer science master's degree that I'm doing while working. Now, continuing on with his prediction, he predicted that in such a scenario, 99 to 99.9% of content online might be AI generated by 2025 to 2030. These predictions have been used as evidence for the dead internet theory. In 2024, Google reported that its search results were being inundated with websites that feel like they were created for search engines instead of people. In correspondence with Gizmodo, a Google spokesperson acknowledged the role of generative AI in the rapid proliferation of such content, and that it could displace more valuable human-made alternatives. Bots using LLMs are anticipated to increase the amount of spam and run the risk of creating a situation where bots interacting with each other create self-replicating prompts that result in loops you've seen these on Facebook, but I remember in 2024 when a massive amount of photos of Jesus as made out of shrimps, or blessing a cabin crew, or eating fish was circulating by obviously AI generated accounts. I thought it was bizarre now, but AI slop is everywhere now. So how does this theory apply to Facebook then? In 2024, AI generated images on Facebook, referred to as AI slop, began going viral. Subjects of these AI generated images included flight attendants, black children next to artwork they supposedly created, I remember that, and various iterations of shrimp Jesus, depictions of Christ meshed in various forms with shrimp. Many of these posts had hundreds or even thousands of AI comments saying Amen. The images were cited as an example of the internet of the time having begun to feel dead. SomeReadingsASMR discussed Shrimp Jesus in detail within his article as a symbol to represent the shift in the internet, specifically stating, just as Jesus was supposedly the messenger for God, Shrimp Jesus is the messenger for the fatal system we've maneuvered ourselves into, decoupled proliferation and in a state of exponential metastasis. Facebook includes an option to provide AI-generated responses to group posts. Such responses appear if a user explicitly tags at Meta AI in a post, or if the post includes a question and no other users have responded to it within an hour. In January 2025, interest renewed in the theory following statements from Meta on their plans to introduce new AI-powered autonomous accounts. Connor Hayes, Vice President of Product for Generative AI at Meta, stated, "We expect these AIs to actually, over time, exist on our platforms, kind of in the same way that accounts do. They'll have bios and profile pictures and be able to generate and share content powered by AI on the platform." Now, how about Reddit? In the past, Reddit allowed free access to its API and data, which allowed users to employ third-party moderation apps and train AI in human interaction. In 2023, the company moved to charge for access to its user dataset. Companies training AI are expected to continue to use this data for training future AI, as LLMs such as ChatGPT become available to the Business Insider that training the next generation of AI on content created by previous generations could cause the content to suffer. Yeah. University of South Florida Professor John Liccardo compared this situation of AI-generated web content flooding Reddit to the dead internet theory. Now to Twitter, starting with I hate texting tweets. Since 2020, several Twitter accounts started posting tweets starting with the phrase I hate texting, followed by an alternative activity such as I hate texting, I just want to hold your hand, or I hate texting, just come live with me. These posts received tens and thousands of likes, many of which are suspected to be from bot accounts, and proponents of course used this as evidence too. Now to TikTok. In 2024, TikTok began discussing offering the use of virtual influencers to advertisement agencies. In a 2024 article in Fast Company, journalist Michael Grothaus linked this and other AI-generated content on social media to the dead internet theory. In this article, he referred to the content as AI slime. I haven't heard it called that before. Now, YouTube and the inversion. On YouTube, there is a market online for fake views to boost a video's credibility and reach broader audiences. At one point, fake views were so prevalent that some engineers were concerned YouTube's algorithm for detecting them would begin to treat fake views as default and start misclassifying the real ones. YouTube's engineers coined the term the inversion to describe this phenomenon. That is a scary idea. YouTube bots and the fear of the inversion were cited as support for the dead internet theory. And to social AI. Social AI, an app created on September 18, 2024 by Michael Saman, was created with the full purpose of chatting with only AI bots without human interaction. An article on the Ars Technica website linked social AI to the dead internet theory. That's a very interesting theory, and a lot of very pertinent, important points were made. And I don't personally think that the majority of the internet in 2016 was inauthentic bot traffic. But I would, if I were to hazard a guess that as the years go by, the percentage of human-generated content will be lower and lower, unless of course we have a revival of interest in human-generated work, and if we all maybe take a bit less time on social media. I wonder what you think about that. I'd love